Okay, you asked the question.
So yeah, so I do want to know the story of how you met Dad.
Okay, I'll tell you. I was in high school. I had just written the exams. I was kind of spooked because I'd had to study for them, and I'd never studied much in my life. So were my friends. They were a little weary as well. And one of the families had a cottage out on Lake Wabamun. Lake what?
Wabamun.
Wabamun.
Yeah.
Wabamun Beach. No, that wasn't the name of the lake, was it?
Sabio, Sabmat.
Whatever. So we were to go out, the 10 of us, to
Seba Beach.
Seba Beach.
Seba
Yes.
Beach.
We were to go out to this cabin for a week or 10 days, but we couldn't go without a chaperone.
Of course.
That was the parents' demanded. So my sister Betty, was about 20 some odd years old, and she had her little son Bob with her. She came out as chaperone. The cabin was lovely, faced right on the beach, and we had a wonderful time. The week was drawing to an end, and while we'd had a few campfires, we thought, let's have a bang-up one before we have to go back to the city. So we had the fire pit ready and lots of wood, and we invited the young people around us, around our cottage down at the store. We met 3 of the boys we'd gone to school with, and we asked them, they were leaders over at the Boy Scout camp, if they'd like to come.
Boy
And they
Scouts.
said, Boy Scouts, yes.
Good guys.
And they said they'd come, they'd love to come. Said we'll have to paddle across the lake from the scout camp. So we got ready. I saw this gorgeous young carpenter, dark brown hair, big brown eyes, and he was working with Mr. Oppett on a building project for Bartart Lumber.
You mean he didn't have blonde hair?
No, he had dark brown hair and lovely
Really?
eyes and a smile that went from here to there. And I asked him if he'd love to come to the campfire. Yes, he says, I'll bring my friend. So that night, everything was going well. The fire was lit. We had lots of things to pass around and eat and talk and pop. And Robert showed up with his friend, and that was Andy, big, tall, skinny, blonde kid.
Ah.
So they sat around the campfire, and as people moved in around, I ended up sitting beside the blonde. And the lovely big brown-eyed guy was across the fire from me, 10 feet, 20 feet away. So I talked to the big blonde, and we had the Boy Scout leaders showed up, and each of them brought their troop.
Oh no.
Their troop of about 10 boys
Wow.
each. So there was 30 extra people around the campfire that
Wow.
we had not expected.
Right.
But we had a great night. And one of the boys sitting on the other side of me was our neighbor. And he said I could borrow his boat any time. So I borrowed his boat, and Andy and I took off the next day to row across the lake. Well, we got across the lake, and there was a creek over there called, I don't know, something or other creek.
You mean you went off on a boat with the man you just met the night before?
Yeah, we went off
Just
on
by
rowing in
chance?
the boat.
Really?
It was disgusting, I know.
Really? Okay.
And we rowed over. He did the rowing. I just sat there, looked beautiful.
Yeah. Okay.
And we rowed over and up this creek a little ways and turned around and came back down. But by the time we got back down the creek, the wind had come up and the lake was pretty rough.
Yes.
So he really had to work to get us back to our cottage.
Ah.
We didn't even get back to the cottage. We got nearly there, and there was a car on the shore blinking its light. The parents had come to pick us up.
Oh, good. Because you
So
were
I
late
said
probably
goodbye
by
to
then.
him, and away we went.
Yeah.
Back into Edmonton. I don't know where he went. He went back. He was working on building the cottage as well. So there we were. Well, I didn't hear from him. I thought he might try to get in touch. School was starting again. I had a job working at the Hudson Bay Company. And I don't know how it happened, but he knew some of the other girls from my high school, and he phoned them to see how he could get in touch with me. Well, he says, I don't think Isabella's family have a phone back where they live, but she works downtown, right across from the bay at, well, that's when I was working for Western Cartage and Storage as an office clerk. So that was how he got in touch with me.
You went to Western Cartage and Storage?
Yes, he came into the office,
Okay.
and he talked me into a date.
Well, it wasn't
And he
too hard.
wasn't a smooth talker at all.
No. Oh, really?
He just told me how hard it had been to find me.
Of course.
So, of course, we went out
Well,
to a
that's
movie
pretty,
or something.
pretty persistent of him.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yes, I thought it was rather good.
Well, what happened to the thing about how you were walking along the beach early in the morning, and you saw these guys building a cabin, and the old guy gave you a
that's
hammer and
right.
told you to start
That's
working?
when I saw him. That's where I saw the lovely big brown-haired guy with the brown
It was
eyes.
that guy.
And I climbed up the ladder there because Andy's father was up on the roof nailing things. So I climbed up the ladder, and Mr. Alton gave me a hammer and some nails.
Right.
And he says, "This, do this, 2 nails there."
Yeah, put
So
you to
I'm-
work.
He put me to work, nailing
Right.
on the roof.
Yeah, but you didn't meet Dad on that
No,
expedition.
not at all.
You met the other guy,
No,
Olaf, or whoever he
no,
was.
the brown-haired boy.
Yeah, what was his name?
Well, Andy would
Something.
tell you, but Andy's not here.
Okay, but it wasn't Andy.
No.
Well, a close call. Could have been a whole different story if you just stayed with the guy that brought you then.
Eh?
Oh, no.
No, I was in the campfire with the girls. That was
Okay,
our
that's
campfire.
True. That's true.
And we had the
He
Boy
just showed
Scouts
up.
land
He
in.
just showed up. You had
And
no
then we
loyalty
borrowed
to
the
him.
boat from the boy
Yeah,
next door.
but you
who
did
wa-
invite him.
Who? Oh, yes, of course.
Yes.
Well, the dark-haired boy said, "I have to bring my friend, too."
Yeah,
And I
and
said,
that was
"Yes,
fine.
fine."
Yeah, okay, good. Well, good thing
But
you
up to
did
that point, I don't think I'd seen him. Maybe
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, all right, good. That's a good story.
That's it.
All right. Okay, so let's see if we've got other stories.